Taoiseach, it really concerns me and indeed many of your own Fianna Fáil grassroots lifelong supporters that nowhere in the 1900 words of the programme for government section on the shared island unit does it mention a united Ireland. I think that's why many of your supporters are leaving you and joining Sinn Féin. I can only speak from my own experience in Mayo. But the reason it concerns me is that you and your partners in government do not acknowledge your constitutional obligation to achieve a united Ireland. There's no reference to the explicit commitment in the Good Friday Agreement for the referendum on Irish unity, and I'd have to ask you why. Despite that, the shared island unit is tasked with a wide range of responsibilities. I'm not going to name them out to you yet. But the shared island unit needs to be capable of delivering progress in a wide range of areas that needs to be reflected in how it is staffed and how it is resourced. And expectations of a shared island unit is one that will establish a citizens' assembly, as was said, a white paper on Irish unity, and to facilitate a joint Oireachtas committee to encourage a structured dialogue, north, south, east and west, as well as our diaspora, and to discuss on how we share and shape this island. Taoiseach, the hour has come for you to show me and people like me from all around the country that a shared island unit is a genuine attempt to unify our island. The folly of partition is demonstrated over and over again, and more recently with Brexit and COVID-19, and dismantling it was always important, but now it is urgent. Before you give me a lecture about Sinn Féin having disregard for the Protestant Unionist loyalist population, I am a mother from the far west of Ireland. I was born in London and I lived a very good part of my life in England. I want the same opportunities for my sons, thank you, Laskahirlach, as I do for mothers in East Belfast. I want to see a good and respectful relationship between both of our islands that embraces the Irish living in Britain and the British living in Ireland.
Yeah. I'll say that I'm somewhat amused by some of the contributions from the deputies opposite, and Deputy Conway-Walsh said that she didn't want me to lecture her. I have no intention of. But I would equally, sorry no, I didn't interrupt anybody, I would equally ask Deputy Conway not to be lecturing me. Since I've come into this House, I've had a commitment to North-South relationships and to the issue of the future of this island as my principal interest. And I've worked hard behind the scenes and as a minister to develop collegial arrangements with people of all political persuasions in the North. I don't need lectures from you or anybody on the Sinn Féin side of the House. Fianna Fáil were essential, worked with others in terms of the Good Friday Agreement. Fianna Fáil enabled your party to give up the gun. You endorsed violence as the way to unify Ireland, and what you did was, you did more damage than anybody in relation to United Ireland, and you continue to endorse that narrative, not understanding that every time you endorse the narrative of violence, you make it more difficult ever to get a united Ireland, or to get consensus. Yes, when your colleague Gerry Kelly celebrates the prison escape which resulted in the murder of a prison officer, is that okay? Do you think that advances the cause of Irish unity? Of course it doesn't. Or saying, oh, we're more pure than Fianna Fáil now because of my position on a shared unit. That kind of sums up your view. You see it as something to appease the base. How many more votes can I win if I shout United Ireland more often than somebody else? That is the essence of what I've just heard from the deputies opposite. If we shout United Ireland better than somebody else, we're deserving more of grassroots support. It's much more profound and complex than that. The Good Friday Agreement, in my view, is an excellent agreement. It's about time a lot of people worked the agreement. I'm prepared to work the agreement in all its aspects. In all its aspects. The problem is too many people were not prepared to work the agreement for far too long. But that, I do know, that's an outrageous assertion. And I've never... No, you're wrong again. I do endorse.
Taoiseach, could we just do it through the chair?
I'm doing it through the chair now. I'll ask him, I'm doing it through the chair.
There are a number of questions grouped in. If we could answer the question. Thank you.
I have answered the question, I am answering the question. I didn't interrupt any deputy when they spoke. I've been heckled since I am speaking, and there's been efforts to try and interfere. And I also would respect the protection of the chair when I'm speaking as well on the floor. But I just want to say that in terms of the questions around the shared unit, it's a noble objective to work on all sides to enable people to share this island together in whatever format into the future. I have clear views on it. I want to work with people in that regard. It's outrageous that you would put words into my mouth through the chair, I have to say to Deputy Tribune. Outrageous that he would put those words into my mouth in terms of unity. I never said that, never would say that. To me, it's about people and it's about minds. And I do endorse aspects of the Seamus Mallon approach, not the majoritarian or the whatever particular formulas he had, but the ethos of what he said when he said, you know, in his own neighbourhood, there's people there for 400 years, and he said it's about time that we learn to share. It's about time we learn to share our homeland. You know, people living in neighbourhoods and so on together, as opposed to being always opposing each other. That's the spirit that I think we should go forward on the island. And there's lots to engage on, and we need to engage people, not just polarise on a constant basis by rhetoric and by appealing to the base. I'm all for discussion. I've engaged in discussion on all fronts with all people involved in the north. I think we need the shared island unit can do a lot of useful work along the areas that we've identified and that we've mentioned, from health, justice, in terms of a whole range of issues, in terms of education and curricula, history, how we develop a shared approach on history, for example, within the curricula, and commemoration, and notwithstanding different perspectives that people have, and also in terms of Brexit. Brexit will have an impact, but I think Brexit has to be dealt with in terms of the pragmatic impact it's going to have on people's lives, on the economy, on business, and so on, and on jobs. And we do need to get that resolved as quickly as we possibly can. You know, but again, but I genuinely believe that the approach adopted through the chair that has been put forward will actually only divide people more in terms of the manner in which it was put forward and in terms of the very partisan approach that has been adopted on an ongoing basis by deputies opposite. I don't share that approach. By the way, I don't need lectures from people about Irish unity or republicanism, because the essence of my party has been to unite Protestant, Catholic and the centre. We're of the wolf-tone persuasion. We've been constitutional Republicans who believed in the European Union. To be fair, I'm delighted the deputies opposite came around to the European Union after opposing the European Union for decades, as you opposed this state for decades and the institutions of this state for decades.